Most people don't see this, and most people don't take it seriously that leadership starts with you. Like, leadership starts within your life. Leadership is a self-development tool, one of the quintessential pieces to self-development. And then once you can use that and hone it and master it in yourself, you start to have leadership externally from you, and that is leadership at a higher level than what you're used to. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Art of Masculinity. I was talking a lot over the last couple of weeks about leadership, and it's something that I'm really trying to focus on because for everybody out there, leadership is the quintessential piece that we can include in our arsenal of tools that allows us to succeed in life, in every area of life. Now, a lot of people think when they hear leadership, they just think like, military, or they think positions within an organization. They don't really have a concept that leadership takes place in every area of your life. And most importantly, your leadership skills are what either propel you to be successful or keep you in the mundane and the ordinary. And it's not to take a knock on people that aren't taking leadership into perspective on how they can be better leaders if they're living this normal life. But at the end of the day, your normal life still has areas in which you can excel if you would just improve your leadership skills. So, say for instance, you're somebody who doesn't want to go be a multi-million dollar business owner and all these other things, and you have this concept of comfort in your mind on where you're at in life as far as your income, your position in your business, everything else, you can still improve in your own area of personal achievement through leadership. You can improve in your marriage significantly in leadership, and you can improve in your relationship if you have children. um, you can improve there with leadership, but people miss this concept, and especially in relationships, which I'm going to go into a whole nother episode on that. But I want to leave a pin in that because relationships are its own beast in how much you can improve it by gaining good leadership skills. But today, that's not what I'm going to focus on. I want to focus on the general fact that how much do you actually know about leadership right now for yourself? I mean, really ask the question, like, what do you know about leadership? Have you just inherently been given leadership positions? Do you just think that you step forward every day and you're like, oh, I just execute on things, but I have no leadership skills? Like, really take a look at your leadership, even in your personal life, and ask yourself, what is your concept of leadership? What do you know about it? Is it just things that you see in movies? Is it things that you hear about? Are there mentors in your life? Are there people that you look up to as leaders, but you're like, that's not me? Like, what does this look like for you? This is the real question a lot of people don't ask. And if you want to say that personal development is the way to go, and you want to be like, oh yeah, like that's how I'm going to improve my life, guess what, guys? That is leadership. That takes leadership. And to be better in personal development, you need to have leadership skills. So that is only one leadership, or self development's one component. The real questions you're asking yourself, the development through shadow work and everything else that you're doing, that's all just a piece. You need to have leadership for that to even come together and culminate into success. So ask yourself the real questions. What is my level of knowledge and leadership? Where is my level of leadership? I mean, objectively, like, question it. Like, have I been good? Have I been bad? Oh, could I have been better? Was that a pretty shitty way for me to be a leader? Really evaluate these things objectively and question yourself, because objectivity also is very subjective, right? So this is a larger conversation as well, almost like if we want to go down the exploration of free will and talk about the metaphysics and philosophies there. A lot of objectivity is subjective. And if we can really question our mindsets, we can really question our philosophies, we can really question our experiences and beliefs, we can start to peel back the onion, as it were, and bring forward real objectivity. But until we do that, it's very hard to be objective, truly objective, because we are all conditioned by subjectivity. We're all conditioned by the experiences and traumas and things that have come up in our lives or the things that we've heard. We're imparting that on all of our quote unquote objectivity as well. So, to be truly objective, you have to question those things within you to even step back further to really see the whole purview of everything. So, a lot of people think, just like as being a parent, that, it's all trial and error. To some degree, this is true, right? Trial and error in leadership is a fact, and it is a really, really good teacher. At the same time, trial and error is not the only teacher, and it will only get you so far. If you do not look to the formal education frameworks, if you do not look to the experience of those who've been incredibly successful in leadership positions, if you're not looking to mentors and wisdom, you will only go so far with trial and error. It's kind of like being an entrepreneur, right? Like you can reach certain levels of success. You can reach six figures a year, multiple six figures a year, relatively. And I say this with quotes, and I'm not like, I'm working on this as well, so it's not like I'm sitting here acting like I'm above anybody or whatever, but you can get to those figures relatively easily by yourself. And even along the way from that, you are going to have people who help you. You will have coaches, you will have programs. Something will step up and help you. You will not do it on your own. 100% not do it on your own. No single person ever has. No single person ever will. That is just a fact. You will achieve those things, though, with relative ease to a certain extent by trial and error. Then you will have to undoubtedly bring in massive levels of extra help if you wish to succeed further, if you wish to double, triple, and 10 times your income and your business and grow it. You will have to seek significant outside resources to improve that area of your life. It is the same thing with leadership. Trial and error will get you so far, and then you will have to seek outside resources if you want to truly improve. You will not be able to just do this on your own and think it's going to be the form of what a high quality leader is and a massively successful leader is, because there are certain levels to this. There are multiple different ways of having frameworks and connection between your understanding, the understanding of a follower, and how those coincide to create a strong team. And guess what? That is just a team as a pair. Now you have to build that same pair with everybody else in the team and then build a team around that. That is the structures of real leadership. And that's where real success happens. Most people don't see this. And most people don't take it seriously that leadership starts with you. Like leadership starts within your life. Leadership is a self development tool, one of the quintessential pieces to self development. And then once you can use that and hone it and master it in yourself, you start to have leadership externally from you. And that is leadership at a higher level than what you're used to. So leadership has this whole evolutionary process. And especially if you go into John C. Maxwell's levels of leadership, he goes through 5 levels of leadership in which there are almost graduate levels. There's multiple times in life you may be in multiple different levels in different areas of your life as far as leadership goes. I mean, it becomes incredibly complex. The bottom line is leadership's important. You need to focus on yourself first. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of tools here because the fact I want you guys to be successful in leadership, and I really want you guys to start with yourselves. And the question you have to ask yourself first when it comes to leadership is, what are you trying to accomplish? In David Covey's, why am I blanking on his name? Anyways, the 7 essential habits for highly effective leaders. That's the book. Yeah. Wow. I'm misquoting this. 7 habits of highly effective people. There we go. 7 habits of highly effective people. All right. when you read that book, or if you choose to read that book, part of it that he talks about is a paradigm and a paradigm shift, and how paradigms are created. Paradigms are essentially almost synonymous with our perceptions. Okay. And when it comes to creating a paradigm is based off of experiences, and it's based off of your life in general prior to encountering a certain situation. So you create this. Now, ultimately, we also create an entire lens for which we see the world, which we see our own lives, which we see friendships and business and profession and everything else. We create these lenses through the experience and through the people who have impacted our lives. That is kind of the framework in which we all operate, right? What he talks about is the fact that when you take a look at yourself and you really want to have a paradigm shift, you have to actually look at the lens itself before you even look out to the world. And then you also have to look at the world itself minus the lens for what it really is. And when you then do that and you can evaluate the lens, you actually have the opportunity to shift the lens to then be incredibly beneficial for where you want to go in life, but then also correspond to how the world really is. So that way the lens can be can be that window to how the world really is and apply itself in that capacity, as opposed to how you want the world to be or any other kind of placement you want to put for your definition of the world. There is a high level of truth and validity to that, which is why he addresses it. But that's why we need to really first say, as a leader, if we are going to lead ourselves, how or what is it we are actually trying to accomplish? Like, if we don't know what we're trying to accomplish, it's kind of like saying, I want to go to the ice cream store and grab an ice cream, or ice cream shop and grab an ice cream, but I don't have a car to get there. Like, if you have no vehicle to get to where you want to go because you don't even really know where you want to go, there you're missing a big link to that. Or you're like, hey, I want ice cream and I don't even know where an ice cream shop is. I don't know. I don't have a mode to get there. Maybe that's probably the better analogy. I don't have any of those things. I just know I want ice cream, right? Like, you don't see the concept even around any of that. And so you're going to fail in that endeavor because you haven't actually taken time to say what you want to accomplish. So I want ice cream, and then looked at the lens in which you see the world or see obtaining that ice cream, right? And then also the world in which you live in. Where is it at and what is really in place? Time, factors, all these other things that, other people, all these other things that come into play. So if you're looking at this realistically, the first step to leadership is, what do we even want to accomplish? Leaders are guides. You are a guide for your own life. You are a guide for those people that look to you. What are you trying to accomplish? Is it for money? Is it for your legacy? Is it for development? Is it for some other reason you can think of in your life? You need to define that to know, okay, how does leadership apply to me in this moment? And what is the lens in which I want to look through the world, or look at the world, because it will help me accomplish my goal of being a leader or accomplish my goal of X, which is now my leadership's lens. My leadership lens is to accomplish that through this vision. We have to really take a look at that. If we don't know that, it's going to be very hard. The second question for you that you have to answer is, as a leader, when it comes to other people in your life and even yourself, because you have your internal dialogue and then you have your external words that you tell other people or that you say to the universe, but you have your internal dialogue, which is your judgment and criticism and approval and everything else of yourself. Now, how would you like to be seen by that? And how would you like to be seen by others who are following you? It's not just enough to be handed a position. You need to actually earn respect, which means even in our own minds, we have to follow through with what we say we're going to do, right? Because this establishes integrity. And then this tells our minds that we are trustworthy. And if we say we're going to do something, we need to accomplish it. So there's no more of just giving empty ideas and empty promises to yourself. And the same thing with people, right? You have to earn their respect, which means that you need to do things that leaders often do, which is lead from the front, be able to get into the trenches. Don't ask people to do things you're not willing to do yourself, and earn their respect through how you lead, not just being given a position. When you look at Maxwell's levels of leadership, the level one, which is position, basically has no respect and people are obligated to follow, right? Like that's the principle of number one, which is position. Think of the military. People are obligated to follow. Do you want people to be obligated to follow you? Or would you like them to actually have respect and revere you and want to follow you out of their own free will? That is the question you have to answer. Now, some people might be like, no, I just want people to follow me because like I have power and I have position. Cool. If that's you, there are leadership styles that fit that. That's a real thing. There's also very solid follower styles that also do really well with that leadership. It's not a knock. It's just a way to do it. But again, you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish, and then you need to understand how you would like to be seen. If you want to be seen, like if you're trying to accomplish productivity and just money, then being seen as a supportive servant leader may not be a care in the world for you. You might want to be a Steve Jobs, who everybody pretty much hated him, but he was super good at having a big vision and pushing the business towards that. And he earned respect through his creativity and his action taking and decision making and industry disruption. That's what he did. And people respected him as a leader for that, but they hated him as a person because he just didn't also give a fuck about that. And that's okay. That was his leadership style. That is an actual style. And those are actual styles of followers that don't respond well to it, but will still do what you need to say because they're obligated to, right? Out of money, out of fear, position, whatever it is, they're obligated to. But do you want that, or do you want people to want to follow you? Do you want people to talk about you nicely behind your back? Do you want them to advocate for you and be supporters of your leadership style and who you are and your vision? It just really depends on how you want to be seen. So ask yourselves these two questions, and I promise you, you will be on your way to developing better leadership. Ask these two questions in any scenario that is prominent within your life. If you are a husband, ask it for how you want to be seen as a husband, how you want to be seen as a father. If you have kids, how you want to be seen in your professional life. How do you want to see yourself? How do you want to talk to yourself when you do follow through with something or don't follow through with something? How do you want to treat yourself? That is all part of the evaluation for how you want to be followed when you're developing leadership skills. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that you take something from it. And if you guys have not, make sure you go to Apple iTunes, give a 5-star review, let everybody know what you love about this podcast so that they can come find it too. We'll get pushed up in the Apple ratings and all that stuff so people can find us better, right? We want more people. If you feel like this has brought value to your life, you want more people to be involved with it. And we want to gift this to more people. So if that is you, make sure that you go to Apple iTunes, give a 5-star review, let everybody know what you love about the podcast. All right, everybody. As always, remember that the world deserves a better caliber of man, and it is our obligation to give it to them.